Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel. And the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. What is this all about, folks? Well, it's this time of the year where I award the Fountain Pen Therapy Pen Awards in various categories. Stay tuned for this first category, which will go to the Chinese Pen of the Year and the Chinese Pen Maker of the Year. Enjoy. Okay, so we're back with the pens. These folks are my favorite Chinese pens for the year 2024. Some of them have made my 12 nominee list and some have not. The ones that you see upright here are the ones that are, in my view, I would like to give some honorable mention to, but did not make my list. This is not in any particular order other than by pen maker. And then we'll look at some writing samples. We'll get into my 12 nominees and my last three, and then finally my winner. First of all, from left to right, you have the Asvine nominees. Of course, you have the V200, beautiful, beautiful pen, titanium. You have the J16 titanium. Now, what's surprising is that although Asvine gets a lot of airplay, so to speak, 2024 has been a pretty slim year for them. These are really the only two pens that I think were worthy of mention. I'm not sure there were any others. There may have been different colors or different materials for some of the other pens that came out in previous years. But in terms of novel models, these are the only two that I think are worthy of mention. I'm not even sure there are any more than these two. Next on the listing here is the Majon entries. You have the V60, you have the TI or titanium 136, and of course you have the P139 with the number 8 size nib. The honorable mention goes to this P136. I think this is a beautiful pen. Yes, I know that Majon has kind of copied a lot of pens this year, and that this is just another, not a complete knockoff, but certainly heavily inspired Mont Blanc. But let me tell you, I really love this pen. I know some reviewers kind of didn't enjoy it at all. I did. I like the feel of this pen. I like the look of this pen. It's in my pen list or my everyday pens very often. My pen case, I should say. So I really like this pen, but unfortunately it did not make my 12, but I did want to give it honorable mention. These are the two Trammell. This is honorable mention. It's kind of a dual-fold inspiration, obviously, but I think this is an extremely well-made pen. If you like these decorative engravings, very nicely done. Of course, the Trammells are now coming with Yowo nibs, which is a change for the Chinese pen makers this year. We're starting to see not only their original nibs, but we saw Bock, we saw Schmidt, and now we see Yowo. So honorable mention to this T630, I believe it is referred to, from Trammell. But the Trammell nominee for me is this little Trammell cream, I think they call it, just because of the resin. The resin looks like cheap plastic, but it isn't. It feels like a Mont Blanc precious resin. It did come in with a Yowo nib, so I think it's worthy of mention. It comes in different colors, and this is my favorite one. Of course, it's heavily inspired, and it looks like the Pro Gear from Sailor. Having said that, that's my nominee. Next on the listing here, you see the 3 Ongdian. Again, Ongdian slim pick this year for them, but at the end of the day, probably more than Asvine. And is Asvine Ongdian the same company? I've always had my suspicions. The first one, of course, is this Ongdian A9 with a number 8 size nib. I like this Ongdian. Yes, it resembles some of the other models that came out in 2023 in terms of this outside coating, but I liked the fact that they've put in this non-slip kind of resin section, and it is a different, it does give us a different look. So that's the A9. Then we have the WA35 and the CA35, which are the aerospace pens, if you will, which commemorate aerospace or Chinese aerospace. And out of the two, I chose the more elaborate one, which is the WA35 or 351, as some have called it. Some may not appreciate all this elaborate engraving and embossing. I do. And the nibs, of course, are similar. So it made my nominee list. Next in line is Lemon. And from Lemon, I know they've they expanded their nib offerings, but I really enjoyed these two pens. First of all, this is the heavily inspired, if not knockoff, of Little Prince, or even maybe the anniversary pen. That nib is just completely blown me away, and that's one of the main reasons why this pen even made my list. It's well made, and you know, folks, if you want to feel how a 146 feels, this is as close as it gets. Another Mont Blanc inspiration, at least they didn't copy the finial and the Mont Blanc crest, but it's this M5. That was the M6. This is the M5, the Panda pen, as they called it. A beautifully made pen. Sits in that hand. The comfort level of this pen is just fabulous. The fact that there's faceted cap and all of this elaboration makes this pen a really fun pen to work with. A great writing experience, so it made my final list. I know this is a controversial pen and some didn't like the clip, but you know what? This Tian Dao from Jinao, again with a beautiful number 8 size nib, that big converter, writes really well. You're going to see the combination of the ink that I've put in this pen really quick swell. Since the original red, we've had offerings in completely transparent. I've seen them in blue. I've seen them in green. So you're getting different colors if you don't like that red. But I mean, this is probably the only Jinao that was worthy of mention. The rest is different resins or different colors of the same pen. But this is my Jinao entry for 2024. Last but not least is this M800 from Atmok, which of course is meant to be greatly inspired by the Pelican pens. I've got a little surprise for you under the hood here. These are the two versions that I own. They also have the M400 that didn't make my list, but probably should have made honorable mention. But there you have it. This is with the Schmidt nib, and underneath this one, I've got a surprise for you. So stay tuned for that. So those, folks, are my entries. Those are my runner-ups. Give me a chance. We'll set up with some writing samples, and we'll take you through number 12 right up to the last 3, and of course declare the winner. So there you have it. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back to look at the 12, and we'll do so with writing samples. Now, before I do that, let me tell you how I compiled the ranking, if you will. What I did is I created a little spreadsheet, and these are the parameters, if you will, that I looked at and scored each parameter on 10, and gave rankings that way, and then compiled everything, and then let the list do its work, the Excel sheet. And these are the results that I got. First of all, I take a look at the originality of the design. I gave some marks for that. The design itself, in terms of how it's, if it's a good imitation, if it's not a good imitation, if you will. And then I gave some points for build quality. I gave some points for the nib, of course. I looked at the writing, the overall writing experience, comfort level, the way it posts, etc., etc. I looked at the materials that are being used. I looked at the filler or the filling mechanism, gave some marks for that. And then I compiled it all, totaled the scores, and these are the results. Okay, so here we go. Number 12 on the list is this Lemon M6. And I've got to tell you, because it didn't get a lot of points for originality, especially given that 5-star, it's not a 6-star, but it's a 5-star Mont Blanc at the end. But I think the nib is what probably gave this this pen a nomineeship, if you will. So this is the Lemon M6, and it's got a lemon nib. And let me tell you, one of the best nibs in my collection. Very, very nice. So it made my list, and it is number 12. Beautiful pen otherwise. It's just, it's a pity that they had to go through that length to copy it, but it's a very comfortable pen, everyday writer, go-to pen for me. So number 12. Number 11 on the list is this V60. Again, because I think Majon chose to inspire itself a little too much, but this is the Majon V60. Very, very nice pen. Now, I know some people hated this pen, and also I know the Inquiring Minds believes that it'll probably make his worst pen of the year. But, I agree with the likes of Mr. Brown. Esprit Brown, loves this pen, compared it to the original. He has a Magnum Omas 360. And you know what? This pen got me hunting for the real thing. Now that I know how comfortable this pen is, and I know the original Omas has problems with the filler system, that piston. But let me tell you, this pen is well made. It writes really, really nicely. I've ordered, in fact, all the colors with different nibs I've put in. It's got it. You can swap it, and the Majon nibs work really, really well. And what I like about it is that I was able to, because I have a tendency to write at a bad angle with my nibs. Everybody points that out. What I've done here is that I've put that nib slightly off center. I don't know if you could see that, so that when I grip it, the pen lines up nice and straight, and it takes advantage of, it corrects, if you will, the angle. So one of the nice things about the pen, I know that Inquiring Minds couldn't get out that nib. Yeah, I had to kind of force it out a little bit, and maybe when you do so, you damage the feed, but no big deal. These feeds are pretty cheap. You can replace them. I think this is a gorgeous pen, so it made my number 11 list. Number 10, I can't keep emphasizing how nice this pen is. This is the Tramol, I think they call it cream, and it resembles a Sailor Pro Gear, but it comes with a Yowo nib, so you can choose, right up to broad, and I cannot stress enough about the quality of this resin. It is not plastic, folks. It feels like the Mont Blanc precious resin, if you will. And it's got some really nice heft to it for a small pen like that. I think it's a gorgeous pen, well made. Trammell is, for me, a novelty in 2024, and it's made the list. How can I not make the list? It's just a gorgeous little pen, everyday carry. I am enjoying it tremendously. Number 9 on my list is this Dieman, and I know this is controversial. One, there may be some politics there that people don't appreciate, and others don't appreciate all that. You know, it's kind of a little bit heavy in terms of elaborate embossing, etc. So let me get that down. Dieman WA35. I think it's a well-made pen. It gets enormous points for design and originality. The build quality is, Dieman up to par. That nib is bouncy. It's got what some would say that kind of springy, slightly flexy nib, which feels like a gold nib. So, Dieman, congratulations, you've made number 9. Number 8 is another Dieman pen. It probably would have made higher up on the list, but I kind of think it's kind of a deja vu of similar models or materials being used as last year. So that probably what hurt the ranking of this pen, because that number 8 nib, so this is the A9, with that springy, almost gold-like number 8 nib, it certainly gave it marks that well-deserved, and that made it at least in the top 12. So once again, Dieman, very good. One of the things that bother a lot of people is that, as you can see, that line doesn't quite line up, and you have to kind of, there's a way to do this, so it does. There you go. I just get it by accident, but that's one of the things I think that people didn't like about this pen. But having said that, look how gorgeous it is. It's got some good heft. It's got a number 8 size nib, so well deserved of being a nominee. Number 7 on my list is this other controversial Jinhao Tiandao. Now, some people don't like the guitar clip. I think it's a nice touch. Don't forget, this is my top Chinese pens. So Jinhao Tiandao, I believe is how they refer to it. It's got that number 8 size, very juicy nib. By the way, do you like this ink? This is the Dieman Purplish Red. I'm going to be doing a video on all the Dieman inks. I think they're very, very well worthy of mention. But gorgeous, gorgeous combination. I think this pen with that number 8 size nib, which is smooth, and that huge converter, kind of, similar to the 9019, well constructed, well made. I like this pen. Number 7. Number 6. Well, another lemon pen that's kind of a little bit controversial because it kind of mimics and is greatly inspired by another Mont Blanc. But it's this lemon M5 with this really nice architect nib. This pen is so comfortable, both in weight and shape. And girth and length. It's just, for me, it's kind of an ideal look. And it's got this faceted cap that can put some weight to it. It doesn't post, and that's probably why it hurt. It lost some points. But a very well made pen, regardless of where it was inspired. And that's maybe why it's at number 6 and not higher up. But otherwise, I can tell you, folks, this is a winner. This is a real winner. So that's number 6 on my list. Now we're getting closer. Number 5 on my list is this Majon P139. I think, again, Majon is inspired by a Mont Blanc, but nonetheless, a very well built. So this is the P139 with that number 8 size nib. You can get it in number 6 if you wish, but I certainly would recommend the number 8. The nib is juicy, wet, performs really well. It's got a little spring in it. Everyday pen, piston filler with a piston window. Very well done. I would have liked to see this resin be a little more like the white version, which, by the way, I've ordered, but it hasn't come in yet. I wanted to get it for this review, but it just, with the postal strike in Canada, it just kind of backlogged things. The resin on the white apparently is a little more crushed ice look rather than this flat looking orange. But having said that, really nice pen, high marks for Majon. Next on my list. Okay, here's where we're going to have some fun. This is the Admox. So first of all, number 4 is the Admox M800, which of course is an imitation of the Pelikan M800. Comes in different looking resins. This is what it originally comes in. In other words, it comes in with a Schmidt nib, and I chose a Schmidt broad here. You can tell how thick and juicy. Very nice nib, smooth. One of my favorite nibs and one of the most underrated nibs, that Schmidt nib. The pen is very well done. Unfortunately, too well done. It's got good weight. It's got very nice features, which heavily inspired themselves from the original. And speaking of the original, here's another version of the same one, which of course looks very nice with that blue resin there. But what I've done, folks, and surprise for all of us, take a look. Take a look under the hood what it's got. Yes, sir. It's got a Pelikan M800 18 karat nib. It's not the dual tone. It's just a plain chrome colored, but it's gold. Shaq did a similar swap where he put the M800 nib into one of the titanium offerings, the TI 136 from Majon, but it needs an adapter for the Bach setting. This one, I was able to insert it in the Schmidt nib section without any difficulty. I thought it would leak on me because it looked like it just went in just a little too loose, but it hasn't leaked. I used the original feed of the Schmidt feed. I did not use the feed that came with that nib. But let me tell you, this swap is just fabulous. With the original nib, original Pelikan nib, makes it such that, I get the writing experience of the real thing, because the size apparently is just size and feel is bang on without the price tag. So this Admox may have cost me $50 US, and that nib, folks, at Giardino Italiano, they have sales once in a while. I picked up at €145, so roughly $150. Normally those nibs go over $250 for sure. So there you have it. Now it's even closer to the Pelikan M800. I thought I'd share that with you. So there you have it. That's number 4. Okay, so where are we now? We're at number 4. Well, we're going to go to the next page and we'll take a look at the last 3. Okay? The number 3 on my list is this Majon Titanium TI 136. Just an absolutely beautiful pen. I've got to tell you, it's a piston filler, nice ink window, and it's got this lemon long blade or long knife, but kind of an architect grind to it. I was not fond of those architect types of nibs. I couldn't write with them, but with this one, I can. So this is the number 3. Congratulations, Majon. It's Majon TI 136. But take a look at this, folks. It is just so juicy. What a beautiful nib. And the ink, of course, is Majon. Is a Majon ink. So it kind of really pleased with this. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous pen. Really nice feel. And this is the one that Shaq kind of modified and upgraded the nib with the Pelican nib. I may want to do that, take that Pelican nib. I've ordered the box section that accommodates that nib with its feed from Flexi Nibs. I think it's called Flexi Factory or Factory Flexi Nibs, whatever it is. And I received the section, so I may very well do the swap and see if there's a different writing experience there. But there you have it. The TI 136 is number 3 on my list. Well, number 2, another titanium nib. This is a Asvine Giant, folks. Again, piston filler with an eye, with a window. And now Asvine has a YOO offering. So that was number 3. Sorry, I forgot to put number 3. Number 2 is this Asvine J16 with a YOO nib now. And you know, the Asvine nibs are probably among the best in the Chinese pen market, but with the fact that they now offer the YOO at that price, folks, I think we've got a winner here. That's why it's number 2 anyway. And very nice weight. It's got quite a bit of heft and length. Is it inspired by kind of a bigger than a 146 and smaller than a 149, so somewhere in between, but very well made pen. It's an Asvine. It's Asvine quality, of course. I really recommend it. You cannot enjoy Chinese nibs fully without purchasing this one. This one is a must, folks. If you're thinking about which pen to get, you'll have lots of fun writing experience, which, by the way, that section is very sticky, so it's not shiny and slippery at all. And I forgot to mention, all these pens have been reviewed by me, so you can look for those reviews on my channel if you want a more in-depth review. Number 1. That takes me to number 1, and it kind of explains why I have 4 of them. This is the Asvine V200. I've been applauding this pen ever since it came out. Right from the outset, I said it might make my pen of the year, and it has. I've got to tell you, it's titanium. It's got that beautiful transparent resin. It's a vacuum filler. It works very well. It's very well built. It comes with either Asvine or Bock nibs. The price is good. You got varieties. You also have another variety in kind of a anodized titanium, or when you change the color, kind of a rainbow color. That's possible as well. The beauty of this, though, in terms of my well, let me first write with a Bock nib. So this black version, or smoke black version, number 1 is with the Bock nib that it came with. So this is the number 1, and it's the Asvine V200 with a Bock nib. Very, very nice. Gotta tell you, this pen, because of its filling mechanism and the way it looks, the feel, the weight, the build quality is just beautiful. Now, some people have criticized the fact that it caps, but you know, it interferes with that piston. I don't cap my pens. It's not a major concern for me. And even if you do, you can still get it to cap, but I wouldn't recommend it. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful pen, and it's my choice for pen of the year. Now, what made it even more attractive is the fact that I was able to use the Bock section to purchase a fountain pen Revolution Ultraflex ultra fine nib or extra fine nib, the chrome version, which is so springy and so flexy, which has made this Asvine even more attractive in my view, because now this Asvine can be turned into a very nice flex pen, as you can see, with that fountain pen Revolution nib as an option. I think it's made me even happier, and that FPR Ultraflex is, in my view, probably one of the better flex nibs on the market, especially for a steel nib. Number one. So there you have it. Number one, the winner is the Asvine V200 2024. Now that we have looked at all that, give me a second. I'm going to set up again, and I'll declare the winner of the Chinese pen maker of the year. Be right back. Okay, so we're back. These were all the pens. I've added a few just because may not have made the best or the 12 nominees, but in terms of evaluating the pen maker, I think we have to look at some of their other offerings to kind of make up our minds. These are the Asvine pens for 2024, the J16 and the V200. As you can see, Majon has had 4 offerings, heavily inspired, but nonetheless 4 very, very nice contenders. There are others that I've not mentioned here, especially some of their capless or their the imitations of the vanishing points, which I don't like as pens to begin with. So none of them kind of made this list. Trammell has got at least these 2. Dieman has these 3. There's also the A7 with a wood made out of stable wood, which has been a disaster for me. It cracked on me. It's unglued. So I'm not even going to put it in this category. I don't think it's worthy of the Dieman quality that we usually can expect from him. Jinao has kind of slim pickings. They got some thinner pens and stuff that they came out with, but that I don't believe are worthy in my mention for my collection in any event. They got these 2 lemon nibs, and then of course we got Admock. They came out with the M800. They came out with the M400, and they also got a nice offering in this Galaxy Blue of kind of a Jinao 100 / Parker dual fold look. But again, very well made. Comes with the Schmidt nib, which in my view is an advantage because it's a beautiful and underrated nib. So Admock certainly is a player this year. Asvine has always been. Dieman has always been. But my pen maker of the year, Chinese pen maker of the year, is got to go to Majon. I think Majon is the one that's given us the most offerings that are worthy of mention. Yes, they're heavily inspired, but nonetheless, these are pens for those folks who just don't want to spend $2,000 on a Hemingway or $1,000 on a Mont Blanc 146 or $1,500 on a Omas 360. And I forget, I think is this another writer's pen from Montblanc, which is in the thousands of dollars. You know, these are great offerings. I think the fact that Majon has provided that number of offerings, Hongdian is kind of slowed down. Now, I understand there are rumors that maybe one of these companies is going through some financial issues and may disappear, and I certainly hope not, because they're all worthy of mention. And I don't want to spread false rumors, but that's what I read. But certainly Hongdian, compared to last year, which was my pen maker of the year, is kind of slim picking for this year. Asvine only came out with 2. I understand there's a brand new one, stable wood Asvine, that I've been looking at almost on a daily basis in the hope of being able to include it in this year-end review, but didn't receive it, didn't see it. I think it's out in China, but not out for North American markets yet. So it will probably have to go into my 2025 picking and maybe make that nominee for next year. So there you have it. My Chinese pen of the year is the V200 from Asvine, and my Chinese pen maker of the year is Majon. So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this first award show. Several more to come. Yeah, that's my choice for this year, or my choices for this year. I think I had, a lot to choose from, but at the end of the day, that's my choice, folks. I hope you agree, but please leave in your comments who's the Chinese pen maker of the year for you folks, or which company, and which Chinese pen did you enjoy the most this year? Please weigh in on this. We'll take a little poll at the end of the day, and maybe we'll agree and maybe we'll disagree. But that's the fun. That's the fountain pen therapy at the end of the year that I think we should all share. So without further ado, please enjoy your holidays, whether it's Christmas or any other holiday, or whether it's welcoming the new year 2025. I enjoy every minute of this passion of mine. I hope you do the same. And let's celebrate our community, and let's celebrate fountain pen therapy.